So welcome everyone to the what was I going to say? I was going to say podcast, but Coaching Corner podcast and YouTube channel. So today we have got Kate with us, the lovely Kate, who I've known for a little while now. We've talked about your business before, and I'm so excited to welcome Kate here. Kate, can you tell us a bit about what it is that you do and how you came to doing this?
Yeah, sure. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and the main thing that I specialize in is skin health and cellular rejuvenation, which sounds very grand. And essentially, what that is just helping mainly the sort of busy midlife women who are struggling with maybe hormone issues to really achieve the sort of glowing skin. Just with simple changes to, eating habits and, without all the sort of restrictive diets or rigorous exercise or all the expensive skincare products that the media says we have to use and all of these things. Um, so yeah, I really came into that because I've always been fascinated by plant medicine. I originally sort of trained as a herbalist, which was great fun. I then went on to train as a nutritionist. But at the same time, I'd always had an interest in sort of skin health because I have horrendously sensitive skin, and I've always had to make my own skincare products. So that was something I'd always done, and I then started selling natural skincare, and that was great. But skincare products can only do so much for your skin, as I found out myself with numerous skin problems. So I really got interested in the sort of the niche of skin nutrition. And what's interesting about that as well is that the health of your skin is like a visible manifestation of the health of your overall body. So if you treat your skin health, you're actually treating, cells throughout your body.
Mm.
And so yeah, that's my sort of intro.
Yeah, I love that. And when you said about like women at a certain age and skin problems and things like that, like as soon as you said women at a certain age, the first thing that came up is like menopause. It's like if you're
Mhm.
perimenopausal or if you're going through the menopause, like how does that affect your skin and how can you help people with that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, so many of the hormone changes that women experience, they often find they start getting sort of skin problems like a lot of women get, things like acne that they haven't had since they were a teenager, and it can be a bit depressing thinking, why have I suddenly got teenage skin?
Mm.
And other women get problems with dry skin that then leads to becoming, more sensitive, so they get problems like eczema and things creeping in. Um, and a lot of things that they maybe haven't had, for all this time. Suddenly they all come back again, and obviously a lot of that is just linked to the hormone changes that are happening. Also, often a lot of the sort of diet and lifestyle habits that maybe people have had, you know, they've had for a long time. The 20s and 30s, you can get away with them. Your body copes, but sometimes you get to a certain point and it just says, nope, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And so maybe you have to start to look at some of these, some of these things that we know maybe are not the most healthy. And yeah, that really, throws off the whole body. And of course, that shows up in our skin. Just stress is a massive one as well. Once your body starts losing estrogen, that puts more stress on it. So then any other stress that you've got in your life, it all compounds. And elevated cortisol, our skin actually produces cortisol as well. So again, that's going to lead to inflammation in the skin, and that can then obviously really lead to a lot of skin problems. So it's lots of these sort of little things that you can look at.
Yeah, so interesting. And what you said about like treating the skin and that can impact so many other things. I love the idea of that because that sounds like actually it's I don't know. It just sounds more appealing to me. Like I'm not a person who loves going to the gym and doing all of these different things, and it just makes me think, well, actually, I feel like this is doable. Like the nutrition side of it as well. Like it sounds really appealing because you're saying like you don't have to cut out everything and you don't have to do all of these things that we've been told to do. So what is it
Mm.
that I know like what makes it so different from other things that we might have been told that we need to do or we've come across? Like how do you treat people differently and not cut out everything?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, the thing is, if you're gonna have a really restrictive diet, that's actually gonna pile more stress on you, which is the last thing that we want.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, what we try and look at is the sort of, the overall sort of diet that you're having. It's the 80-20 rule, some people call it.
Yeah.
And um the way I always like to look at it is like if you've got a sort of a healthy garden. So you've got like a really healthy, like lush garden and everything's growing beautifully. If you sort of, throw the odd firework in there, it's not going to do much damage. Everything's going to be fine. But obviously, if you've got a raging, forest fire, then yeah, throwing more stuff on that is not good. So sometimes we do have to sort of, cut a few things out just to bring everything into balance. But once you've done that, you can absolutely, you can have the treats and all of these things. And yeah, as you say, some of these things we're told are good for us are not always the case.
Mm.
Exercise is a great example. You see a lot of women sort of going, running for hours on the treadmill because they think they have to, but actually
Mm.
that can cause an awful lot of stress on the body, and actually might not be the best thing to do. And maybe a really short intense workout and then a bit of weight training that you can actually really fit into a busy schedule. Often that's actually going to be more beneficial for people anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it is about personalizing it for the people as well because it has to fit in with your lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. Um, and it's so funny because I've almost like had an aversion to working with a nutritionist. Apologies for this on but because I have like, I've almost kind of developed this association of a nutritionist as like you'll be given a plan that won't fit in with your life and you'll have to be calorie counting and doing all of these things. And it sounds like work before you've even started. Well, tell us a bit more about, like, you've mentioned who you work with, but how do you work with them? What programs have you got? Like, how do you work with people?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you should say that actually because I find it so often if I'm at like a networking event or something and I say I'm a nutritionist, and the first thing people say to me is, "Oh, yes, I don't normally eat this, or I don't normally drink this, or yeah, I know I had this for breakfast, but I don't normally do this." I'm
Like the food police.
like, okay, yeah, I'm like, it's fine. I don't care. So yeah, I think people do have this sort of paranoia about it, and it's like, no, it's not about that. Um, Obviously, when I work with people, I mean, yeah, I do like to start off with people, keeping a detailed, food diary and looking at the sort of lifestyle factors as well. Not so that I can judge them,
Yeah.
but just so that I can get an idea of, what we're working with. And then it's really important as well to to get to know people and to find out, okay, well, what sort of foods do you like? What sort of lifestyle are you using? Are you cooking at home? All of these things that, so I can make sure that any recommendations, do fit within their lifestyle. And also understanding what people's goals are,
Mm.
and you know what sort of changes they want to make, because some people they do feel like they've got maybe an unhealthy relationship with food and they're really motivated to change that. And other people, they might think, well, I want to reach this goal, but I don't really want to change certain things. And then
Yeah.
that's fine. And we can work with that. Um, and yeah, it's very much about sort of, educating people, if you like, giving them the tools to sort of say, okay, well, this is what these foods might be doing to you, and these are some things that you might want to look at. But then, it is up to you. And there are always different options
Mm.
that we can use, so if, a particular food you want to try that, and then you find out actually that doesn't work for me. Okay, well, let's try something else and
Yeah.
find something that really works for you and that you enjoy. Because yeah, there's really no point forcing yourself to eat food that you really don't like.
Yeah. And it's just so I am I like I'm not the best cook, but there's certain recipes that I'm actually quite good at. And there's one recipe that I've literally cooked this morning, and it's a Nigerian recipe. So thinking about like people from different cultures who might have like different ingredients and things like that. Do you take all of that into consideration?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually find it's really fascinating if I get to work with somebody who, who's got that. Obviously, I mean, I have a sort of bank of recipes that I sort of, give out to people, anyone who's interested to sort of, I don't know what to cook. Okay, well, try some of these. But yeah, I love finding out about, other people's sort of if they've got traditional recipes they want to share. I'm like, oh wow, that's so much fun. I can really sort of look into that. Like, it's really interesting. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, incorporating, the people's sort of preferences and things is obviously really important.
Yeah, I love that idea because I've been on numerous diets in my life. And what I've noticed is that you'll have like a list of food and things like that, but it might not cater for like food that is a little bit like unique in terms of like your culture. So I love the fact that you like consider the individual and actually like see them as a person with all the culture and individual differences that they bring and cater it around that. So that sounds fantastic. One of the things that we spoke about before we started the recording was around like what you're doing at the moment to talk about this, to like educate people, share the love around it as well. And the fact that you're like really out there kind of working on visibility and getting visible. Like, what has been your journey as someone who is trained in this and now like you're getting your clients and looking to build your business? Like, how like what does visibility look like for you and how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean it's been a bit yeah, it was a bit difficult for me at first because I've always been, I don't know, naturally quite a quiet sort of person.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, I enjoy making videos and things, but I would sort of very much, yeah, make videos and put them on my YouTube channel and then just, there you are. People can just find them. They can come and watch it if they want to, and it's not, obviously that's not going to work. Um, so yeah, it was something I sort of put off doing for a long time until I eventually had to admit that if I do want clients, I'm yeah gonna have to work on the visibility part. So yeah, I tend to be a bit sort of all or nothing. So it's something I then just threw myself into. So I was like, right, I'm gonna go on all these Facebook groups where you can find like collaboration things. I'm just gonna sign up to every bundle, every summit, every podcast. And I was suddenly looking at my diary. I'm like, oh my God, I've got like 10 podcast interviews this week. And yeah, that's definitely a tip for people. Be just, be restrained on that because I realized I was getting in such a muddle. I was like getting emails about
Yeah,
summits I'd forgotten that I'd signed up for. Oh, what am I doing for this? I don't even know. So eventually I got a spreadsheet, got myself organized. Right, keep track of all this, which is useful.
I
Um,
love it.
so yeah, and I also decided to organize my own summit as well at the same time, just to,
Have you
overload
done
myself even
that
more.
now, Kate? Has that
Yeah.
been and gone now? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was on when was it? End of May. So I got, what was it, 33 we ended up with like different
Brilliant.
professionals of different wellness kind of things, and we all recorded interviews with everyone and did that. So that was a lot of work, but it was
Yeah,
a lot of fun. So I'm thinking, I might do another one next year. We'll
I love
we'll
that.
see how it goes.
So tell us a bit more about what it is that you're like working on. Like, how can people connect with you? Obviously, your links will be on the description for this. But like, what can like how can people work with you at the moment?
Um, yeah, so I have A couple of main programs at the moment. So, for sort of the all-around package, if you like, I have the Vibrant Woman program, and that is a sort of holistic coaching program which looks at all different things: nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, relationships, all of these different kinds of things. It's like a 12-week program. That I take people through. And then I've now just launched my holistic healing for the skin program, which is specifically focused on skin nutrition. So again, that's it's a very flexible program depending on how much support people want. And yeah, so that's going to be quite exciting.
I
So I hope
love
to
it.
get people signed up to that.
I love it. And the links will be below anyway, so people can sign up for that. I mean, I love your energy, Kate. Like every time I speak to you, like you are someone who I would love to work with in terms of nutrition because you're just always so positive about things. And I love the fact that you consider the person, you look at things holistically, you've got lots of experience that you can bring to it. And yeah, you're just always so positive and upbeat about things. So that is definitely the person that I would love to work with.
Oh, thank you.
Especially with the topic that I'm like, I don't always like I love eating. And the thought of cutting things out and doing all of this and changing everything just does not appeal to me. So the way that you talk about nutrition and food and skin and things like that, I'm like, well, I can be really open and honest with you and tell you what it is that I do like, and you'll take that into consideration. And that for me just feels like it's more sustainable, that it is like a lifestyle change that I could do rather than changing everything. So yeah, it's been brilliant speaking
Yeah.
to you.
Oh,
Anything
thank
that
you.
you would like to say just to finish off before we then yeah, post your links and things like that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, it's been lovely. It's been lovely to speak to you too. And yeah, as you say, what I always like to focus on is rather than thinking of all the things that you want to cut out of your diet, it's more I like to focus on what can we add in. So if we can add in more healthy foods, that can really make a difference. We can start to feel better. And once we start to feel better, it really encourages you to keep doing that. And I think that's a much more, positive way of looking at it, rather than, putting more stress on you, because that's the last thing we want.
Yeah, I love that. And like I always talk about the fact that I'm a positive psychologist. So I don't look at the deficit and what's gone wrong and all of those different things. I look at what's working and how can we build on that. So I see you almost like
Yeah.
a positive nutritionist.
Yeah, I like that.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Kate, for your time. And anyone that wants to contact Kate and work with you, then obviously the links will be below. And yeah, it's been really fascinating, really interesting. And I just feel uplifted now. So thank you, Kate.
Oh, that's great.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kate.